This week, Tolga joins us from Invicti Security to talk web asset discovery. Then John Lucades joins us from Eclipsium to talk risk trade-offs in firmware security. Finally, in the security news, Jump Cloud raises $159 million on a $2.5 billion valuation. BitSight raises $250 million on a $2.5 billion valuation. And Sneak raises $300 million on an $8.5 billion valuation. Numbers don't mean anything anymore. DisruptOps, Accurix, and Newstar get acquired. China copies and pastes GDPR. The U.S. is looking for feedback on zero trust. Palo Alto Networks enters the consumer IoT market. Ransomware protection built into SSDs. All that and more on this episode of Enterprise Security Weekly.
This is Security Weekly, for security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where we talk security vendors and aren't afraid to name names. It's Enterprise Security Weekly. Every 11 seconds, there's a new ransomware attack. Oil pipelines, universities, corporations, all paying millions of dollars. Barracuda says, don't pay the ransom. Before a ransomware attack occurs, train your teams to recognize an attack and use anti-phishing technology. Protect your applications, and they can't get onto your network. Simple backup and restore solutions quickly recover your data without paying the ransom. Build your ransomware protection plan now by visiting securityweekly.com/Barracuda. That's securityweekly.com/Barracuda. Did you know that 81% of data breaches are caused by weak password security? Keeper Security's easy-to-use password manager platform keeps your passwords safe, easy to share, and out of reach of cybercriminals. Keeper is the leading cybersecurity platform for preventing password-related data breaches and cyber threats. Check out Keeper and get a free 3-year Keeper Password Manager solution when you take a demo of Keeper for Business. Learn more at securityweekly.com/Keeper Security.
Welcome to Enterprise Security Weekly. This is episode 242, recorded on Wednesday, September 15th, 2021. I'm Adrian Sanabria, and for some reason, I'm doing what Paul usually does. Welcome, Paul.
Yay! I love it when I can have other people do my previous jobs for me. That's the sign of success in my mind. It should be for everyone else as well.
So yeah, I'm the main host now, and you're nice enough to give me kind of a soft handoff here. You know, you're seeing me into the door as you go out.
That's it. It was advice I got like a long time ago when I was in college. If you can train yourself out of a job, you'll have a wonderful career.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I've seen what happens when you do the opposite, and
it's bad.
It's not pretty. Welcome, Tyler Shields, co-host today as well.
Congratulations to you, my Captain O'Captain. I'll be following you wherever you go. I hope this doesn't promote me to the number 2 guy.
Well, no, because you're involved with the new thing that I'm going to be working on in lieu of this show.
Yes, and I hope to spend a lot of time helping with that. That little, we'll keep that a secret squirrel for a bit, but that's going to be a lot of fun as a project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the reason here. You know, it's not that I do this better than Paul. You know, I'd like to think. Yeah, I'm not terrible at this, but no, Paul,
you're doing great.
Very, very cool project coming up, and I'm really excited to see it and to check it out when that's ready.
Yeah, I don't get less podcasts. I just get new podcasts.
Yeah.
Then I pass the baton and I go create a new podcast.
Yeah, new day, chop wood, carry water, right?
Yep.
All right, Security Weekly Unlocked will be held in person. Still planning on in person this December 5th through 7th at the Hilton Lake Buena Vista. We're excited to announce our speakers, Leslie Carhart, John Strand, Alyssa Miller, Dave Kennedy, O'Shea Bowens, Marina Chiavata, Patrick Coble, Chris Eng, Eric Escobar, Nick Leghorn, Michael Schlatt, Kevin Johnson, Justin Kohler, Jay Bill. Do we really need to mention every single one? Trenton Ivey, Ryan Cobb. I mean, it's exciting. It's a lot of exciting folks. You know, I hope things are looking better by December. and we are still able to do that in person because I'm emotionally invested. I want in-person conferences again. Visit securityweekly.com/unlock to register and check out our Rockstar lineup. All right, this interview is sponsored by Invicti Security, makers of the well-known AppSec products Acunetics and NetSparker. And we are joined today by Tolga Kayas, Assistant Application Security Manager at Invicti, to talk a bit on a topic that Paul and I have recently spent some serious time on, discovering and keeping track of your web assets. Tolga, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for hosting me. By the way, you are better than Paul.
There you go.
Oh man, you folks can't hear it, but Tyler was talking so much smack. So smack talk, just
That's right.
The whole 10-15 minutes before we go live today, for whatever reason, is just all smack talk.
You deserve the compliment, right?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take it. So Tolga, how did you get into security, and what drew you to doing OSINT research?
Yeah, actually, before I go into the security, I was dealing with some intelligence and intelligence researchers. So that was the main topic drew to me to OSINT, and OSINT was the topic that drew into me to cybersecurity. So that's all how it started.
Oh, that's an interesting route into security. It's a very, very good route into security. There's lots of intelligence to explore, right? Has it been shocking to find how many organizations really have no clue what they've got exposed to the public internet and in the public space?
Yeah, the most shocking thing for me was some security organizations has some flaws with it, especially with the documentation leaks. So after I saw such things, that was the really shocking part. So that's where I started investing some consultation and OSINT and asset discovery into the Invicti, which before me they were doing it. So it's a great thing to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And I found this really interesting because, you might not be aware of this, but earlier this year, we actually did some reviews of attack surface management products that, where the whole purpose of the product is to go out and find all the abandoned stuff and web properties, artifacts, digital artifacts out there that companies are unaware of, especially ones that could cause them some pain, cause them some issues in the future. So it's, at the rate some of these companies build and create web applications, it's, I guess, unsurprising, that some of them get abandoned, forgotten about. It seems like attackers definitely look to those to get initial footholds into companies. So for companies that have already kind of dug themselves down in a deep hole with this respect, don't have that visibility, don't know what they don't know, where should they start, Tolga?
Yeah, this was one of the topics I would like to talk about. Would you mind if I share my screens to express myself better?
Sorry. Yeah, Tolga you have like 10 slides or so that walk through this problem and solution.
Share it. Okay.
Sweet.
So, as we talked, I know this topic has been talked multiple times, and practices are well known by fellow OSINTers. CTOs know. They need to know what assets they have. Security engineers know. They have to do recon just like attackers do, or do they? So, as a consultant, I thought it was my responsibility to bring this topic to the table again, after what I saw in the industry as we speak, and especially in the large-size businesses. So these days, each enterprise develops hundreds of web applications and components every single year, if not thousands. Campaign applications, portals, interfaces for desktop applications, and more every year. Some cloud natives, SPA, statics, doesn't matter really for in the beginning. And we shouldn't care about their technology stack first. Their purpose, if they are temporary or not important at all. And as part of the application security in enterprises, we do DAST, SAST, SCA, IST, penetration testing, bug bounty programs, all of them to achieve one thing, right? Secure applications. We are aware that all of them has to be secure, but the game's name is simple. You can protect what you are not aware of, right? And some deployments will be lost in time. Others will go wild with high severity vulnerabilities. Legacy or unknown web assets in the wild create a significant risk to organizations because organizations will stop maintaining them. However, attackers will not stop finding new vulnerabilities. At these times, it's getting even worse because we are developing multiple complex web applications on one web server. So even if we discover that website, the web server, this doesn't mean we found and covered all web applications hosted under the same FQDN. So discovering web application was challenging before, and it got even more challenging. And if you're a large-sized organization, you will miss some applications. It's a fact. So what is the solution then? And we mainly found two solutions to address this and minimize the risks associated with it. First, internal processes and policies for launching a new asset. This will create a centralized baseline on how teams will deploy new assets. Secondly, web asset discovery. If you're not already practicing centralized policies and processes, this means finding all web applications not included in application security practices. If you already have the centralized practices in place, you will find all assets you may be missed. And let's start the internal processes and policies for launching a new asset. And honestly, this is where discovering assets should start. It should be a requirement to register all web assets directly to your security solutions to start application security from the beginning, instead of discovering web applications you created, register them. Believe me, it's much easier. So where to start your asset discovery? Web asset discovery, it's a process of finding all web applications externally and internally. And it is easy to tell than do it. When it is easier to tell, it will take a lot of time to touch each topics one by one. So I will be touching topics very briefly and give some keywords for you to understand general concepts and preferably do it yourself. And let's understand what we can do for external assets. For external assets, we have lots of data, but not much information. So you might feel lost. Where you can start then? As a starter, we already have a list of our mission critical websites. We all know our subsidiaries, sub-agencies, and so on. This is a great place to start, right? First of all, list all of them and first query in the public data sets. Search public crawlers for root domain, use your SSL certificate in certificate transparency data, and finally check public DNS data to move to open source intelligence techniques. And use search engines, right? Craft your specific docs for your environment, documentations, concepts, then move to internet search engines. I prefer not to name, but we all know the actors for internet search engines. So use them. That they're great for manual approaches of the web asset discovery. If you have that opportunity, make sure you use third-party data providers. They will do most of the job for you and provide the data. And let's continue with the discovering internal assets. The first step to begin with is configuration checks, that you access to security appliances and analyze configs. In cloud era, internal assets usually do not mean internal assets. This means they might not be publicly available, but also not on-premise. This brings a challenge along with a great opportunity. For on-premise, most likely not everything is centrally manageable. This is a different story in cloud. You have control over everything centrally, which means you can use that control to analyze configurations automatically to discover new assets. And for on-premise, it is more challenging to discover. First, you will need to know what you have as security appliances, and then you can check their configurations to discover new ones. After completing configuration checks, the next step that works excellent for on-premise is the service scans. Just like an attacker does, start standardized scanners and scan the IP ranges, detect the HTTP services, and query IP for PTR records. And like I said, it is easy to tell than actually doing it. And I bet everyone understands better now why it is better to register the assets instead of finding them in the wild. And what we can offer to help. The first thing what we can offer is automated and continuous web asset discovery, which is included in our product line as Invicti. It is essential because what we need with asset discovery is finding every web application, not just the web server or one FQDN. This is where automated and continuous discovery comes into the picture because it requires a lot of man-hour to finding each and every web applications manually. As we are talking about web asset discovery in application security, what we do in our platform, getting inputs from you, like your most critical applications, using that input on our databases and provide you with associated assets. And then you can add that application in your inventory quickly, start test scans, and with that input again, the platform will keep finding even more associated assets. As a second service is manual discovery as part of the additional services. Before I jump into it, I would like to explain what we do at Invicti. We are developing the largest dynamic application security solutions, Akunetics and NetSpark. And as application security management team, we are providing white glove solutions to our customer on dynamic application security and consulting on how they improve their DevSecOps. We have a service called Guided Success, which is highly skilled penetration testers and project managers help you to use our platforms or even use the platform on your behalf. And as part of the Guided Success service, we will be doing manually discovering our clients' web applications. Since it's a manual approach, it has much more specialized techniques and tailored for the customer. And it has much more coverage, though. And what do you think, Paul? If you were a customer, would you use a service like this?
Yeah, absolutely, I would. I think I've seen this not implemented well. I've seen some good intentions. In other words, maybe I set up a bug bounty program, and this is part of my bug bounty program, but that I think is the wrong usage of your bug bounty program. I've always pushed for organizations to do this internally. And I think some of the other ways, like it's kind of misguided, is, well, I'll just leave that to my pen testers, right? When I come into a pen test, usually that's one of the first things in a pen test, depending on how it's scoped, is to find all of your potential targets. And that's when a lot of these websites will be uncovered. And I think in both examples, it's better than doing nothing. I like these processes to be internalized in the organization. Certainly outsourced to a service like yourselves is a perfect way to do it. And then integrate that with my operational security program is the best. I don't want to wait for a bug bounty hunter or a pen tester to find a site I don't know about it. I want that scan to run or investigation, I should say, to be ongoing. And outsourcing it to a service like yourselves, I think is great. I'd do it.
Hey, Adrian, real quick question for you. Does this start to bridge the gap towards like attack surface management?
Yeah, no, I think certainly the automated piece does fit in here, and a lot of those folks also have kind of like a white glove approach to it. You know, where there is kind of some assistance component, some services component, but a lot of things I think are really important. All coming together to help with this problem that have been mentioned here. Like if somebody's going to come to you and let you know about a problem, you need to be prepared for that. So that's generally considered like a prerequisite to doing a bug bounty. Having a vulnerability disclosure program, making it clear where to send that email, where who to get in touch with to let them know that you've found an issue on one of their web properties or whatever it might be. And then to Tolga's point about doing this, and Paul's point about doing this internally, you really need to do both. You need to have that discovery piece to find the stuff that falls through the cracks, but you also need the process to make sure all new apps are getting registered. Shadow IT is kind of gone unsolved. I mean, we've seen tools that help with it, but a lot of companies still have these issues. Still haven't put these processes into place and worked out a lot of this stuff.
Hey. So Tolga, I have a quick question for you. Talk to me a little bit about the difference between informed or internal collection of this type of data versus external collection of this type of data. Do you find value differences between the two, and what do you like to bring to your customers there?
I think I couldn't understand the question fully. So what do you mean by that?
Sure. Yeah, let me reiterate. Right, there's a certain level of data collection from an outside vantage point to the business, right? So collecting DNS records, collecting access entry points into web applications, collecting lists of externally facing ports, things like that, versus a more informed approach, which would be, hey, let's take my cloud security or my cloud provider, my cloud service provider in a general sense, and take the credentials to that and enumerate from a inside view, meaning we have authenticated credentials to the infrastructure and can collect data. What are your thoughts on the differences between the two and value of the two?
I prefer both, but at end of the day, you need to use both. So just like an attacker do, you will need to act on your own, collecting the data from outside. And if you're doing the same thing from the inside, also working great, because you have the control over everything, right? You have the credentials, you have the configurations, you can see the more things. And if you think from the more pre-production side, you wouldn't have much control over that in the external phase, but you have that control in the internal phase. But so combining both works great. That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was a good point about cloud can be easy because it's just an API call. It'll tell you everything that's in there. If you know about that particular cloud account, if it's an authorized account, but developers, can and will absolutely go off and use their personal GitHub, or maybe they decide to use DigitalOcean, like a different cloud provider or something like that. And I think that's where some of these other techniques, like using DNS and things like that to discover, again, kind of those shadow IT cases where, somebody doesn't use, maybe the process is really inconvenient for them to get, access to deploy stuff in the cloud and to use the cloud, so to get their work done quicker, they use their own personal account or something like that. So I think, definitely you need a bunch of different techniques to be able to discover that kind of stuff. Would you agree with that, Tolga?
For me, yeah. Yeah, for me, yeah. You will need both.
And talking about the product specifically, do Acunetics and NetSparker kind of share the same software piece here? Is this an additional charge, or is it included with both products?
Yeah, both included with the both products, and we have a centralized database for it. So for every customer, you can use that service, and after adding one target, or even with your registry email, it will start finding sets of yours.
I love how you simplify it there. You already know an email address, so why not start there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And since you already know a few targets of yours, few applications of yours, the most critical websites, you will immediately start them you will be starting to scan them immediately. And with that input with us, we will use that in our databases and sending the results back to you for the discovered new ones.
But there's no reason not to put other stuff that you know in there, right? Like that just helps the discovery engine to put in all the domains, that you know about, to give it, I guess, some seeds for doing that discovery. What kind of what data types does it take as seeds? What can you feed this discovery engine?
Mm-hmm. We can feed with the domains, just domains, and this is more acting like keywords. You can add keywords, organization names for the SL certificates, and you can give a IP address or IP addresses in range format. So it will scan all of them in the databases, and it will give the results back to you. In 5 minutes, you have a list of your most of your targets, and what you can do is just selecting the right ones for you and adding them to your desk tool and scan. It is that easy.
And do you find that false positives are an issue with this, and how do you deal with those, if so?
Yeah. False positive is inevitable. So you will have some false positive in any asset discovery. You will find some, but the most possible way to eliminate most of them is using the SL certificates, because I found them very valuable for it, because you already know the organization names, and you can basically use that data to cover all of the associated web assets, and even you can eliminate the others with it. So even with that, you will have a great amount of true positives in it.
So certificates are key, it sounds like.
Yeah, for most of it. And
so current customers, how do they get access to this engine? Is it distributed as SaaS, separate from the products, the Acunetics and NetSparker products themselves?
Yeah, it exists, and we have a centralized service for it as SaaS. And our customers can just add their website, and they will see the result in their dashboard, even it's on-premise, but the solution itself for our discovery service, it's centralized, based and managed by us.
Paul, Tyler, either of you have any other questions?
No, I really appreciate the the time. I appreciate the coverage, the direction of the product. The more that we can get that data collected and available, the better it's going to be from a security perspective. So it's interesting.
Tolga, I did have a question. Are you providing screenshots when you discover a website? Because that's usually how, when I conduct a pen test or an assessment, right, I string a bunch of open source tools together and end up with like a web page of here's all the web pages that I found and here's a screenshot. I'm assuming that's included in the product as well.
Not yet, but I will definitely discuss with my product team.
Yeah, I find that
after a scan, we provide the screenshot, but not with the discovery service.
I gotcha. Yeah, so you do that with the scan.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is totally fair.
Yeah, when you're doing discovery and you get like 400 results back, it does help to have those screenshots, because sometimes it's like 13 different QA and dev versions of the same site, right?
Or that one's a VPN concentrator that happens to have remote exploit.
Right. Yeah, an internal pen test, it's always fun to see all the like the Dell storage.
We used to call it DRAC. Yeah.
You always see a whole bunch of those. Yep. Excellent. Tolga, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
No, not for now.
Excellent. So very good stuff. Make sure you visit securityweekly.com/Invicti to learn more. And stay tuned. We've got John Lucchese from Eclipsium coming up next.